Welcome to this lesson. In this chapter, we will talk about Adobe Firefly, which is an AI created by Adobe to create images to improve or make some changes inside our images. Okay, so here I am inside firefly.adobe.com. Okay, right now that I'm recording this lesson, there are 4 tools available here: text to image, generative fill, text effects, and generative recolor. Okay, there are some other tools that are working on it and it will be published soon. Okay, I will put the link to this page, to firefly.adobe.com, as well inside the resources of this lesson. Okay, and in the next upcoming lectures we will talk about each of these tools. But of course, if you have access to Photoshop beta app, okay, you can use this tool much better, much easier without the Adobe Firefly tag. Okay, but anyway, I will show both of it, how you can use them. Okay, and we will practice it together, right? So that was all about this lesson. Let's go for the next part. All right, so let's begin practicing Adobe Firefly and the first tool, which is text to image. Okay, now we have more or less the experience of creating something or using a tool similar to this one, which was Midjourney. Okay, so when we come to this page, at the bottom of the page, as you can see, I'm not sure if it is visible or not. Let me make it bigger. You can describe the image that you want to generate. Okay, for example, we can come here and mention modern interior with wood texture, dark gray color, and green plants. Okay, you can come here and write this and then click on generate. Same as Midjourney, it will take a couple of seconds to generate it. Okay, but they made the options a little bit easier, okay, to use. So here we have 4 options. As you can see, you can click on it to make it bigger and can go through the options. Okay, and here we can change the size. For example, we can go for wider screen and it will regenerate it again. All right, as you can see, it generated the images again, and it's very similar to what we had on Midjourney. But on Midjourney, for example, if you wanted to change the aspect ratio, you have to write --AR space 16:9. Okay, but here they created some settings for it to make it simpler for people to use it. Now here, under it, we have the content type. We have none, photo, graphic, and art. Okay, so you can select the type of content that you want to be generated. Okay, if you want it to be like a photo, or what we saw, it was like an art. Okay, so now these are with less effects. For example, the none option is similar to raw option on Midjourney. Okay, so as you can see, it's more like a photo. Okay, we can come on photo. It will be still, it will look like a photo, but it will have some effects on it. Okay, all right, the image is already, as you can see, it's photorealistic, but when you select photo, it may add some effects. But one thing, if you notice, the way that they generate images here is a little bit weaker comparing to Midjourney. Okay, Midjourney also has its own weaknesses, but if you look at the ground here, you see it's not correct, right? It's like it is fake ground, but here the wall looks nice. Okay, so same as Midjourney, it may have some weaknesses, but still you may find it very useful, and you may be able to use it for your projects. Okay, for example, here this chair, it looks like it's not real or it's not here. Okay, so there are some issues like this. You can rate the images, or you can report it if there is a specific issue to let Adobe make improvements. Okay, and there are many tools here, so let's go step by step. The next part is about the style. Okay, so right now we are on popular, and on popular you can see under it there are some popular effects. Okay, so we can select an effect. Okay, and when we are happy with the effect that we have selected, we can click on generate, and it will regenerate the image again using the effects that we have assigned. Okay, so under it we have color and tone, lighting, and composition. Okay, so here I made it like layered paper, and let's open it, and you see it made some changes that I'm not sure if it looks fine or not. It's strange, but anyway, the changes was applied. Okay, so these are the popular ones. We have movements. Okay, we have themes, we have techniques, effects, okay, materials, concepts. Okay, so let's come here, let's select, for example, marble. Okay, and here you can see under it we have the effects. Let's remove some of them. For example, we only have marble here. Let's click on generate, and we also will be able to select colors for it. For example, right now it's on none. We can go for black and white, warm tone, cool tones. Okay, vibrant. So okay, let's open the image. Okay, here are the images, and it tried to add that marble of material inside our design. You see, here it is. Let me make some changes in our prompt. Okay, not to force the image to have different materials, and when we select the material here, it will mix them. So modern interior of an apartment with green plants. Okay, let's click on generate, but we also have the effect of marble material on it. Okay, we can, for example, select wood carving, fabric. Okay, if we are generating a specific object, that can be really helpful. So let's select the images. Right, it looks much nicer, right? So the prompt matter a lot. But as you can see here, we have some small issues that I'm not sure if it is a mistake or there are some problems. But as you can see, it tried to use that marble somewhere inside the image. You see here we have the marble on the wall. Okay, or the texture of the sofa here is like marble. But anyway, it's really useful. Okay, we can select the material. So let's come here, let's select, for example, cool tone. Okay, and again generate. Until it's generating, we can look at the lighting. For example, how do we want our image to look like? You can also use the same keywords that we have here inside Midjourney as well. Okay, so this is our image with cool tone. Okay, so you see we have more blue color inside the image, right? That we didn't have before. For example, the curtains here are blue, some of the cushions, right? Okay, so it's very obvious how you can use it. We can, for example, use dramatic lighting, and for composition, we can go for close-up. Okay, we talked about some of these keywords inside the Midjourney chapter, right? Like close-up, wide angles. Okay, they just made it easier here to access. For example, on Midjourney, not everybody knows that they can use these keywords, but here anyone can come and select it. Okay, so as you can see, it tried to make a close-up out of it, but it wasn't very successful. Anyway, this is how we can use text to image tool. Okay, and there is one other thing here that I want to show you. For example, let's remove some of these effects. Okay, and regenerate the image. And there is another cool tool which on the next lesson we will learn more about it, but here I want you to be aware that it exists, and you can use it on these effects to make and you can use it on these images to make improvements. For example, here we come and you don't like this thing on the wall. Okay, if you hover your mouse here on this tool, it is written generative fill. Okay, you can select it and it will jump on the next tool that we will talk about, which will give us this ability to make some changes on the image. Okay, so on the next lesson we will talk more about generative fill. Welcome to the next lesson. In this part we will talk more about generative fill. Now in the previous lesson we generated an image using this tool, text to image. Okay, and we got this image. Now, after I teach you how you can use generative fill, we will come back and practice on this image as well. So let's come here on firefly.adobe.com and click on generate button for the generative fill. Now here are some examples that how this system works. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna upload one of my images and we'll practice on that. So you can also download this image from the resources of this lesson. So here is an image that I put here. Okay, on the left side we have some tools. Okay, we can pan, or with mouse scroll you can zoom in or zoom out. Okay, and we are gonna make some changes on this image. Now first of all, this may happen a lot, that we take an image, the image looks good, but for example someone is in the background that it's making the image bad, or for example there are some items in the background or somewhere in the image that doesn't look so good, and we are not happy with it. Okay, so generative fill will give us this ability to make these changes very easy. Okay, so the first tool that we have here is insert. Okay, so we can make some changes on our image. So when we select insert, at the bottom of our image a window will appear. The first one is add, the second one is subtract, setting, background, invert, and clear. So when I'm on add, if I click and hold the mouse point and move it, I'm gonna select part of the image. Okay, and then I can describe what changes I want to happen on this selected part. Okay, now let's talk about the tools first, then we will jump on the generative fill. So the first one was add. So when you are on add brush, okay, you can add to your selection. The second one is subtract, which you can subtract from your selection. Okay, the third one is setting, which you can adjust the brush size, the hardness, and the opacity of your brush. Okay, so we can make some changes to the brush. The next one is background. Okay, so if you click on it, it will select the background of your image. Okay, and if you click on invert, it will invert it with the part that you have selected, and if you click on clear, it will remove all the selected part, all the selections that we have made. Okay, so let's click on add, and let's say we want to remove these two people from our background. Okay, now the selection is really important. Okay, based on your selection, Adobe Firefly will make the changes. And one thing that you should know, when you want to change something, it's better to select it a little bit more. Okay, more areas than the part that has some problem. Okay, now when you make a selection, sometimes if you don't write anything here and click on generate, okay, it will try to generate some changes based on what Adobe Firefly thinks works best. Okay, so itself, it removed the people, right? And here I have some options that I can select. For example, this one is not so bad. Okay, this is good. Or I can cancel it and go back there and write, for example, remove people. Okay, but I'm happy with what I see here. I'm gonna keep it. Now there is one other guy here. I'm gonna select it. Okay, and I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna write down remove person. Okay, and click on generate. And as you saw, it provides 4 options to us. But since this is an AI and it can make mistakes, or you see, instead of removing, it is adding a person. Okay, so it's not working well. I'm just going to remove it, remove the text that I wrote, and just click on generate, hoping that it will remove the person. So as you saw, you have to play with it. Okay, you see this option is working best. And if you're not happy with the 4 options provided here, you can click on more. Okay, and it will generate 4 other options. So sometimes you have to generate, for example, 8, 12, 16 images, and from there select the best one. Okay, for example, this one is good, right? I'm gonna keep it. Now let's say here we want to have a cat sleeping on this brick or whatever it is. Okay, so I'm gonna select this part, maybe a little bit more, and write down cat sleeping. Okay, click on generate, and it will take a couple of seconds to generate the cat. And as I said, it may not look so good, but we have to keep generating or keep playing with our text. But here I think it doesn't look so bad, right? And if you pay attention, Photoshop tries to use the same lighting for this area. It first tries to understand what we have here. Let's generate more. And then use the same lighting for this area. If it is blurry, okay, it will generate blurry objects out there. Okay, let's scroll back, and yeah, maybe this one. But you know what happened is that our selection was a little bit big, and the image is the image of the cat is a little bit big. So I'm going to cancel it. Okay, and let's clear it, and let's select it again. Okay, so we will have a cat sleeping like this here. So I'm gonna we have our text cat sleeping. Let's click on generate, and I think this size works much better with the image that we have. Okay, let's come here. Yeah, maybe this one looks good, right? So I'm gonna keep this one, and even we can make some changes. For example, on the table, we have a glass of orange juice, right? I'm going to select this glass, okay? All parts of it, okay? Okay, let's scroll back to see that we have selected all the important part of it. And come here, and I'm going to write down, for example, strawberry juice, okay? And let's click on generate. So we can make all kinds of changes. We can change the shirt that I'm wearing, and we can remove something, we can add something, we can change something here. You see, it looks good, right? This one is good. The first one is good. I'm going to keep the first one. Okay. And what else we can do? Right, let's fix the background here that it's very ugly. So let's select the wall here. Okay. And as I said, you have to select a bit more of what you want to change. So Adobe has some room to make the changes and little by little go toward the image that we already have. Okay, so I'm going to select all these parts a little bit more. Okay, let's remove part of it. Okay, so I think the selection looks good. Let's have the top part as well. And here I'm going to just write down modern building with green plants. Okay, let's click on generate. Every time that you hold a space, you can move the image. The rest of the things will be there. Okay, not this one, not this one. This one looks good. Okay, it looks much better than what it was before. We can again click on more to generate more images. Okay, more variants of the changes. And when we are happy with what we have, we can select that. Okay, This one looks nice. This one is the best, I think. So I'm going to keep this one. And let's say here, let's make the brush a little bit smaller. And let's say here on the table, let me scroll, zoom in. Let's say here we have a bowl of ice cream. Okay, what do you say? I'm not a fan of dessert a lot. My wife likes it more. But anyway, I think it looks good here in front of me. So, bowl of, let's say, ice cream. Okay, I want to try fruity ice cream, but let's try simple ice cream first. Okay, let's zoom back a little. As I mentioned several times, the selection matters a lot. Adobe Firefly use the selection that you offer to create the shape that you want. Okay, this one looks good. These are also cool. Okay, maybe I can have chocolate ice cream. Okay, I like that more. Yeah, that looks cool. I'm gonna go with this one. Looks really nice. So here is the changes that we have made. And when you're done with the image, you can just come here and click on download. Okay, and it will download the image. And let's come here, for example, and let me open the original image, which was this one. And let's open the image that we just made. Now, as I said, at the bottom of it, there will be a tag, okay, of Adobe Firefly. But if you use Photoshop, the tag wouldn't be here. I will show you how Photoshop works with generative fill as well in the upcoming lectures. But you can see the difference, okay? The ugly wall in my background is gone, and now it looks much nicer. Here we have a cool cat. We don't have people here. And we also have some delicious dessert in front of me. Okay, so that was all about this lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it. Oh, one thing before I forget. So here was the example that we created in the previous image. Okay, so for example, let's say we don't want this, and we can come here, make the selection, and we can just click on generate to remove the object and generate something that Adobe Firefly thinks best fits here. Okay, right, it doesn't look so good. Let's write down wall. Okay, let's see how it will look if we just write down the object that we want to be visible here. Okay, this one looks good, right? Even though that I didn't mention shelves. Okay, but this one looks much better. I'm gonna keep it. So using generative fill, you can make some changes in the images that you generated using text to image tool. Okay, I just wanted you to know that exists. So that was all about this lesson. If you have any question, write it down for me. If not, I will see you on the next. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the third tool that we have on Adobe Firefly, which is text effects. So come here to firefly.adobe.com and let's click on the generate button. And this tool will help us to generate text using some specific texture or material or design. As you can see, for example, there are some wires here. Here we have some birds, okay, some toasts, some balloons, okay. There are a lot of things here that we can use. So at the bottom of the page, as you can see, we have a bar. On the left side, we can write the text that we want to make some changes. For example, I can come here and write down cat. And on the next part, we can describe the material, okay? Fluffy white color, okay? So when you click on generate, it will generate that text that we wrote using the material that we described, okay? Now, as you can see, same as previous tools, it offers 4 variants, okay? Which when you select on each of them, it will take some time to generate it. Okay, and you can select the one that you like the most. Let's change the description of the material. Let's write down, for example, butterfly and flowers. Okay, and on the right side, same as the first tool that we talked about together, there are some settings which I'm going to talk about them in a moment. And as you can see, it made the texture or the material of our word using the description that we had. For example, we have flowers, we have butterflies, right? So let's talk about what we have on the right. Okay, on the right we have some examples like flowers, snakes. Okay, it is some suggestions from Adobe Firefly for this second description. Okay, here we wrote down butterfly and flowers. Here are some other options like snakes, like wires, balloon, and etc. Okay, the next thing will have some effects on the area of our text, okay, the around of it. So if I right now by default it is on medium, if I select tight, okay, it will keep all those designs and effects inside these text, okay, inside the lines. Okay, you see we don't have anything around it much, right? If we go on medium, you see some other styles, some other shapes appear, and if we go on loose, it will be much more. Okay, so in a moment when it is ready, you will see the difference. You see, we have a lot of flowers, a lot of lines out of it, a lot of butterflies around it. Okay, so this will have effect on the border on our text. Okay, can say. The next option is about fonts, which is obvious. You can change the font that you have, and it will change the effects based on the font of our text as well. Okay, and the next one after that is the color of background or the text color. Okay, so right now our background is transparent. Okay, so we can take this image and put it above another image or some other environment, but here we can come and select colors, for example white color, gray, black. Okay, and we can select the color that we prefer the most. Okay, let's come here and put it on tight, for example, and let's change the font as well. Okay, on this one, and let's come on black color. Looks cool, right? It also looks cool on white color as well, but I think it works better with black. So these are the way that you can make some changes here. Let's go for other options, for example balloon. Okay, and right, it's ready. Okay, you can make the changes that you want based on the settings that exist here. Okay, so more or less that was all about the text effect tool. Okay, it wasn't much, but it's something useful if you want to create cool text, right? So that was all about this lesson. And also when you're done, you can come here, click on download, and it will download it on your computer. Okay, so if I come here and open the image, here we have the image, but again at the bottom left side we will have the Adobe Firefly tag as well. Okay, so that was all about this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go for the next part. All right, we are back in Firefly page, and the next tool and the last tool on this page that is available right now is generative recolor. Okay, so it will help us to generate or regenerate the colors of an SVG file. Okay, so here there's a website called Flat Icon. Okay, I will put the link to this website as well. That there are a lot of icons on this website, a lot of cool designs that you can use for your work. Okay, but when you have a paid membership, I think, I'm not sure right now how it is, but before was like this, that if you have a paid membership, you can download these designs with SVG format as well. Otherwise, you can only get them as PNG or I think JPG. Okay, so here there are some icons. For example, this is smiley face. Okay, you can click on it. I think if you have a free account, you can only download PNG, but if you have a paid version, you can download SVG as well. Okay, so I'm going to download this SVG image. Okay, and let's come to Adobe Firefly and let's upload our image here. Okay, and after that we can describe the palette that we want to use. For example, I can come here and write down blue and green. Okay, click on generate, and same as before, it will generate 4 options for us. Okay, using the color palette that we mentioned. Okay, so on the right side we have some settings. These are some suggestions for the color palette. Okay, we can use these as well. Okay, based on the item that we have it and see if it looks good. After that we have the option called harmony, and here we have some options for the color harmony, I can say. Okay, for example, we can select complementary. Okay, to use the colors in a way to complete each other. Okay, for example, we have purple and green. Okay, purple and green complete each other. Okay, there are some options, you can come and check them out based on your needs. Right, I'm going to set it on default, and here we have some other colors that if you select them, you can force these colors inside the image that we have. Okay, for example, I'm forcing red into it, and as you can see, when I click on them, they will be selected. Okay, and if you don't want that specific color, you can just deselect it. You can click on it and it will be deselected. Okay, also you can see those effects at the bottom of your prompt as well. All right, so it's a very simple tool, but anyway, you may need it, and since it was available here, I thought it's a good idea to talk about it. Okay, so since there isn't more about it, I'm not gonna talk about this tool anymore, and on the next lesson we will talk more about generative fill on Photoshop. So let's go for that part. Welcome to this lesson. So let's talk about Adobe Firefly inside Photoshop. Okay, so if you have access to Creative Cloud app of Adobe, okay, of course you will have some access to the apps that you are paying for. But anyway, if you have access to Adobe Creative Cloud app, there's a tab here called Beta Apps. Okay, and the Photoshop Beta app is here. You can come here and download it from here. And when you open it, it's look like Photoshop exactly, but we have the generative fill available in this Photoshop as well. Okay, so the exact same thing that we did with this image, we can do it here again. So I'm going to select the lasso selection tool. Okay, and I'm going to come here and select the people in the background and click on generative fill. I'm not going to write anything here, just I'm going to select, click on generate, and same as what we had before, it will generate 3 options. Here it will generate 3 options. Okay, and you can select from those 3 options. Right, you see here we have the ability to go for the rest of the options, or on the right side you can see the options available. Also these changes will be happen as a layer here. Okay, so we can turn off or turn on the layer as well. If we are happy with the changes, we can keep it. If not, we can turn it off or remove that layer. So this is one of the good useful thing that we can have here. And one other thing that people use it a lot beside what we did in the previous lectures, okay, is that they create the rest of the image that they don't have. For example, we come on crop, okay, and we crop this image, okay, and then let's select our main image. I'm gonna select the rectangle selection tool, and I'm gonna select the part of this image that I want to extend, but not exactly until the part that the image exists. Okay, I will go more. Okay, because when Photoshop want to generate some part for here, it want to design it in a way that work best with the rest of the image. Okay, so it's better to have part of the image on our selection as well. Again, I'm not going to write anything, and I'm just going to click on generate. Okay, and itself, based on what we have inside the image, it will generate something for this part. Okay, you see it extended the image, and we can select different variants from it. Okay, maybe this one, maybe the first one doesn't look so bad. Okay, so we can work on this image. For example, we can come here and, for example, write down blue sky with white clouds. Okay, generate, and it will generate what we have. All right, it regenerated the top part. Of course, we don't have blue sky here, but we can keep changing the prompt until we get what we want. Okay, so this is how it looks, the generative field on Photoshop. And of course, you don't have the tag here. Working here is much easier. You can make a lot more changes based on your needs, and it's much cooler, right? So I would just wanted you to be familiar with this tool that exists inside Photoshop right now. And as this tool evolve and improve, I will add more lectures on this topic. Okay, so that was all about this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's go for the next part.